afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4. It is Thursday. That means it's Dr. Zorba Pastor time.
That's right. We're going to be talking about the latest COVID-related news, and we're going to be taking your calls as well. So Mark and I will let you know when it's time to call in.
But here's what's making news on this Thursday. Beloit police are investigating after a man stole a car from a woman while she was in it.
As Wisconsin sees a near record number of COVID-19 cases, hospitalization continues to go up as well. We'll talk about how local health officials are preparing.
And the FBI says they have thwarted a plot to kidnap Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer, how Wisconsin played a role in the plan. But we start with news in Sun Prairie, where people will be allowed to return to their homes following a major gas leak this afternoon.
About 1:45 this afternoon, firefighters and police were called to the intersection of Church and Angel Streets in downtown Sun Prairie for a gas leak. They had to evacuate the area. Firefighters had to go throughout the area checking for gas pockets before letting people back in their homes.
Let's take a look outside on this beautiful October day. Just picture perfect out there for the middle of October. Feeling like summer tomorrow. Chris Reese is in the backyard warming up.
Yeah, we are certainly warming up, and one thing I gotta say right now is it wouldn't be a patio with this kind of weather if we were not out grilling or cooking on the patio. So they're getting ready to make some acorn stuffed squash behind me later on in the show. I'm a little bit excited about that. Things ought to taste good. So you'll see her in the background. She's prepping up, but we're gonna talk the weather for now. Temperatures are at 65 comfortable degrees, and we're gonna get warmer as we begin to move into tomorrow. 68 in Janesville right now, and this all comes with no rain chances anywhere nearby across the upper Midwest. A couple of those high clouds out there, but the reality is, as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening, look for this comfortable weather sticking around for us. We'll fall down into the 50s overnight tonight. Here's that weekend forecast for you. We've got temperatures expected to be in the 70s for Saturday and for your Sunday. Soak that up because changes come after Sunday into Monday and into next week. Traffic-wise, things are overall fantastic. We are starting to see your slowdowns that show up at the typical spots around this time, but there's nothing out of the ordinary showing up for us. We're going to keep your eyes on the traffic as we go throughout the show. Of course, that comes after your full weather forecast a little bit closer to 4:30. Guys,
we'll see you then. Thank you, Chris. A wanted man is still on the run this afternoon after leading police in Rock County on a wild chase. At one point, he stole a car with the driver still in it.
It happened around noon yesterday along the state line. Adam Duxter joins us live with why police say this was so dangerous. Adam?
Well, it started on the city's east side and then led to not one but two separate crashes here near Milwaukee Street on the city's east side. And that's when police say the driver ditched his car and got into another car with someone inside in a nearby drive-through. Now today, Beloit police say they're looking for 34-year-old Anthony Gillespie, who is wanted on felony drug charges. Normally, police say they try and keep the public as safe as possible during a chase, but they say what happened yesterday can't be prevented.
It's hard to prevent it from occurring. I think our officers did an outstanding job during the pursuit to try to mitigate the accidents and harm to the public. I also think the public was very watchful of what was going on.
As for the other people caught up in those two crashes, as well as the third person who was in the car while it was stolen, well, they are not hurt. And BPD says they later spotted Gillespie yesterday in Janesville driving what they believe to be a silver Nissan Rogue. However, they could not get to him in time. And tonight they're asking anyone who might have any information to contact their P3 tips line.
Adam Duxter reporting live in Beloit. Adam, thank you. Wisconsin Democrats will likely appeal an absentee ballot ruling to the U.S. Supreme Court. A federal appeals court today blocked a decision to extend the deadline for counting absentee ballots in Wisconsin. It's a win for Republicans who have fought attempts to expand voting across the country. Under state law, absentee ballots are due in local clerk's offices by 8 p.m. on election night. But Democrats want to extend the deadline due to the ongoing pandemic.
The next presidential debate is is up in the air after both candidates dropped out of the one that was scheduled for next week. The Presidential Debate Commission announced that next week's debate would be done virtually in light of President Trump's positive coronavirus test. But the commission didn't run it by the campaigns first. Calling in on Fox News this morning, the president said he would not do a virtual debate.
I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate. That's not what debating's all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate. It's ridiculous.
We don't know what the president's going to do. He changes his mind every second. So for me to comment on that now would be irresponsible.
Both campaigns say they will hold their own events on October 15th instead. The president is looking at plans to resume in-person rallies in the next few days, despite testing positive for COVID-19 1 week ago. Today, President Trump posted video messages aimed at senior citizens and the military. Vice President Mike Pence, along with Joe Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris, are all campaigning in the Southwest today.
An alleged plot to kidnap, kill, and overthrow the government has been foiled in Michigan. Now, several members of the militia group Wolverine Watchmen have been arrested, charged in an alleged violent and disturbing scheme to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Steve Nannis has the details.
Several men are in custody after federal officials thwarted an alleged plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
13 members of 2 militia groups who were preparing to kidnap and possibly kill me.
The FBI began an investigation earlier this year after becoming aware that through social media that a group of individuals was discussing the violent overthrow of certain government and law enforcement components.
That includes allegedly surveilling and monitoring Whitmer's movements and testing improvised explosive devices. Court documents also reveal an undercover FBI agent met with some of the suspects in June. In addition, State Attorney General Dana Nessel announced charges in a separate case against individuals allegedly linked to a militia group in the state.
The individuals in custody are suspected to have attempted to identify the home addresses of law enforcement officers in order to target them, made threats of violence intended to instigate a civil war, and engaged in planning and training for an operation to attack the Capitol building of Michigan and to kidnap government officials, including the governor of Michigan.
The federal charges against the suspects in the alleged plot to kidnap the governor carry a possible sentence of life in prison.
I knew this job would be hard, but I'll be honest, I never could have imagined anything like this.
I'm Steve Nannis reporting.
The militias allegedly trained here in Wisconsin outside of Cambria. Law enforcement there is investigating.
Wisconsin health officials are reporting a near record number of new COVID-19 cases. Just under 3,000 new cases were reported today. That brings the total number in the state to more than 142,000 since the beginning of the outbreak. 8 more people in Wisconsin have died. You may have noticed that the health department announced more than 3,000 new cases today. News 3 Now uses a mix of numbers from state and county health officials, which led us to report many of those cases yesterday. Dane County has more patients with COVID-19 in the hospital than ever before. There were 60 as of this morning, and hospital leaders are preparing for more.
Our Brady Mallory shows us what this means for available beds and how the virus is directly impacting doctors and nurses as well. Brady?
Well, the medical director of infection control at UW Hospital says right now everything is okay capacity-wise, but that could change given the day or even the hour. Staff is monitoring the growing cases in Dane County and taking things day by day. Dr. Nazia Safdar says UW Health is planning for more cases, but hasn't quite experienced the surge that's happening in other parts of the state. Though she couldn't confirm the exact number, she says staff members are also in quarantine due to infection, reflecting what's happening in local communities.
It's certainly true that there's a lot of extremely specialized work done at UW, and the number of those providers that are skilled to do that kind of work, the bench is not deep there. So again, I think for the moment we're okay, but knowing that the virus grows exponentially and you can have 10 employee infections one day and 100 a few days from now, it worries us that we want to be able to keep this.
Dr. Safdar says now is the time for people to follow statewide restrictions and social distancing practices to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Well, Governor Evers' statewide restrictions went into effect at 8 a.m. today. Dr. Safdar knows many people won't listen, but says more people following the rules would help doctors get things under control.
Brady, thank you, and welcome to News 3 Now.
Hey, thanks.
Good to have you. At least 2 inmates at the Dodge County Correctional Institution have died after the county medical examiner confirmed the news today. Officials say a 63-year-old man with pre-existing health conditions died from the virus on September 12th. A few days later, a 62-year-old man with lung cancer died after testing for the virus. The medical examiner says COVID-19 was a contributing factor to his death.
Louisiana residents who were hit hard by Hurricane Laura 6 weeks ago are now bracing for Delta. Hurricane Delta barreled through the Mexican resort areas of Cozumel and Cancun yesterday, knocking out power to 260,000 customers. This wasn't what the DeTalo family from South Dakota was expecting on their vacation, riding out a hurricane at a packed shelter in Playa del Carmen. The hurricane slammed Mexico with 110-mile-per-hour winds.
We're in a pandemic right now, and knowing that we're going to have close quarters this whole entire time with the hurricane, trying to figure out exactly how we were going to do what we could for our family.
Now Louisiana is bracing for Delta, which is currently a Category 2 storm. People filled sandbags as they prepared to hunker down just 6 weeks after Hurricane Laura ripped ashore as a Category 4 storm. Delta is expected to hit Louisiana as early as tomorrow, bringing storm surge, destructive winds, and flooding to areas that are still cleaning up from Hurricane Laura. Like so many businesses, a Madison staple needs your help to stay in business.
The Old Fashioned on the Capitol Square is launching a GoFundMe page to help pay the bills. The owners say although curbside delivery and outdoor seating helped, it's not cutting it. They're hoping to raise $75,000 to keep the restaurant open. Since March, the restaurant had to cut its employees from 108 to 24. We have information on how to make a donation on our website, channel3000.com. And still to come at 4, squash is a favorite fall food.
When we come back, our vegan chef, Lauren Montalbano, is standing by in the backyard patio to put her own spin on preparing an acorn squash. She'll share the vegan recipe coming up when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4. Through Monday at Ashley Home Store. Pay just $1 down for complete rooms full of furniture. Interest-free for 5 years. Seriously, just $1 required at checkout. Plus, save up to 50% off clearance items while they last. Only at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Knoll Manor Retirement Living in Verona provides extraordinary supportive living with compassion and grace. We offer independent living, assisted living, and closer care living options. We understand that staying social is important to everyone's well-being. That's why Knoll Manor provides engaging activities and ways to stay active and connect with others. There's yoga, bingo, outdoor music, and so much more, all while keeping your health and safety in mind. Knoll Manor Living. Welcome home. Contact us today to set up your virtual tour.
Donald Trump is lying again. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000. Biden will close tax loopholes for big corporations. Trump's tax cut giveaway exploded our debt, so he's threatening Social Security and Medicare. Biden will make the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share, so we can protect Social Security and Medicare and invest in schools and health care.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Hi, I'm Brian from McGann Furniture in Baraboo. We know that hardworking people want the most value for their money. When you shop at McGann's, we've already sorted out and selected the brands that we feel offer you the most bang for your buck. From young couples just starting out to people my age, we offer a huge selection at prices that will fit your budget. Plus, most purchases include free delivery and setup. Shop McGann Furniture in downtown Baraboo. You'll be glad you did.
He's our independent voice who answers to no one but us, Todd Novak. Todd Novak is working across the aisle, passing the bipartisan COVID-19 relief bill, helping hospitals and communities get the resources needed to fight the coronavirus. Todd Novak is helping families, small businesses, and farmers as we work to rebuild the economy safely. And Todd Novak led the bipartisan effort to make sure our water is clean and safe for future generations. Our voice, Todd Novak for State Assembly.
You want to vote. It's important. You have strong reasons and you want to voice your opinion. But there are obstacles. Registering, the right ID, getting your ballot, and making it count. Start by calling the Voter Helpline, 608-285-2141 for help getting the obstacles out of your way. Or text Help Me Vote. It's free, it's not affiliated with any party, and you will be heard. Call today and be heard. Speak up and vote.
A service of the Voter ID Coalition with support from Dane County.
Through Monday at Ashley Home Store. Pay just $1 down for the best sleep of your life. You pay just $1 at checkout for any mattress in our lineup. Seriously. Plus, savings up to 55% off. And no interest financing for up to 6 years. Only at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
It's being called a Nobel Prize for environmentalists.
Today, Britain's Prince William announced a global challenge to find 50 solutions to the biggest problems facing our planet over the next decade. Prince William says the world is at a tipping point. He wants to inspire solutions to the toughest climate problems by offering the biggest environmental prize ever. Over the next decade, the Earthshot Prize will reward 5 winners a year, $1.3 million. The prince has also enlisted the help of some heavy hitters like renowned environmentalist and filmmaker Sir David Attenborough.
So we're looking roughly 50 solutions over the next 10 years that can really turn the tide and really change the way we deal and tackle with environmental challenges.
For the second in line to the British throne, it also pushes protecting the planet to the top of his public agenda, taking the baton from his father, Prince Charles, who has long been an outspoken environmental campaigner. Facebook is taking new steps to protect the election with less than a month to go.
The company says it will stop running issue and political ads after the polls close November 3rd to reduce what it calls opportunities for confusion or abuse. This comes one day after Facebook banned groups supporting the bogus conspiracy theory known as QAnon, which portrays President Trump as a secret warrior. As he told Gayle King last month, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been under increasing pressure to monitor and control political content. He says he wants to be sure that campaigns don't use Facebook to declare victory prematurely or argue an ongoing vote count that will mean the election is rigged.
I think that would be dangerous. I think it would be kind of delegitimizing of the election, and I think it could risk increasing, people getting into the streets and civil unrest after the election, which I think would be very problematic.
This action is coming relatively late for Facebook, with less than a month before the election. Last month, Alphabet Inc. said its subsidiary Google would block election-related ads after the polls close also for an indefinite period.
The U.S. government reports another 840,000 people filed for first-time jobless benefits last week on a seasonally adjusted basis. That's down from the week before, but still higher than economists expected. It's a pandemic low, but it's 4 times higher than before the pandemic. There is a caveat. California's numbers are just an estimate. That's because the state paused the processing of initial claims for a second week in a row to work on its benefit backlog and fraud protection. Meanwhile, more than 464,000 people filed claims for pandemic unemployment assistance. Continued claims were down more than expected. Stocks posted back-to-back session gains despite those worse-than-expected job claims. The Dow Industrials added 122 points, closing at 28,425. The Nasdaq gained 56. The S&P 500 was up 27. Well, it may not feel like it today, but we are in the middle of fall.
If you're looking for a new spin on a fall favorite like squash, our vegan chef, Lauren Montalbano, is here from Vibrant Veg. She's on the weather patio making stuffed acorn squash. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Mark.
So, this is a great recipe.
Yeah, what are you doing today?
Yeah, now you're making it vegan for us.
Now I'm making it vegan. So I will be stuffing an acorn squash today, although you can also do this with festival squash or any other small squash like this one. It definitely is one of my fall staples. So what I have done here, since I am sans oven here on the patio, I have roasted this ahead of time. And so you cut your squash in half, and then I rub it down with about a teaspoon on each side of olive oil and also maple syrup and a little sprinkling of salt, and then cook it in an oven that's preheated to 400 for about 30 minutes. And then it gets this beautiful golden brown. The maple syrup enhances the sweet.
That looks so good.
I add in, I've got cooking here, 1 stalk of celery mixed with half a cup of diced cremini mushrooms and 1 shallot.
And you're just sauteing that in a little olive oil?
I'm just sauteing that in a little bit of olive oil. I've added some salt and some pepper.
Okay,
and then
put that aside?
Exactly. We're going to put this aside. And I have pre-cooked a 1/4 cup of wild rice. It's also wild rice season, so it's an excellent ingredient to incorporate into your fall meals. We have a 1/4 cup of cooked brown lentils, just to add a little bit of protein to our meal here. 2 tablespoons of toasted pecans for some crunch. Cranberries, 1/4 cup for a little bit of sweetness and tartness. And then it wouldn't be a fall meal without some fresh herbs. We have thyme that I'm adding. And then I'm just going to mix that all together here. And to flavor that, I'm going to add just a pinch more of salt and pepper. A little bit, actually a teaspoon of maple syrup.
The real stuff.
The real stuff, exactly.
Always use the real stuff.
There's no high fructose corn syrup here. And then also a teaspoon of Dijon mustard for a little sharp bite.
Oh, the maple syrup and Dijon mustard sounds like a good combination.
Oh yeah, it's super good. All right, and then we'll see how gracefully I can do this.
Oh, look at how colorful that is.
Exactly, and I mean, you can throw in whatever kind of vegetables you have. I really enjoy the crunch of the celery. It adds a really nice flavor, but I've also done this recipe with carrots and bell pepper, anything else to add a little bit more color, but I always put in the cranberries for that touch of sweet. And the lentils.
Oh, that couldn't be healthier, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you serve this as your main course or as a side dish?
I do serve this as my main course, and actually, typically, if I'm at home, I roast up some Brussels sprouts to serve as a side.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Then you've got your absolute fall bounty here with all of the bases covered.
Yeah, the cranberries and the maple syrup. It looks delicious. Well, Lauren, thanks for being here today.
You're so welcome.
We'll have the recipe online for folks.
Yep, channel3000.com. Thanks, Lauren. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Still to come at 4, a simple pillow may be a threat to your baby's life.
We'll look at the dangers that babies face and the best way to put a baby to bed. That's coming up after Chris's First Warn forecast.
The pandemic is spreading, and people with pre-existing health conditions are most at risk. But Donald Trump is still trying to repeal protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Joe Biden took on the insurance companies and forced them to cover pre-existing conditions. As president, he'll give Americans the choice to buy public health insurance like Medicare and bring down costs by negotiating with hospitals and drug companies. Joe has a plan. FFPAC's responsible for the content of this ad.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on food that's fresher than fresh? With the Pick and Save app, you can get personalized coupons on top of weekly sales and rewards like fuel points, all for prices that are lower than the everyday low. So go ahead, get lower than low. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
Hey, you guys gonna get started? We're just waiting for the activation fee.
But I already paid for the day.
Yeah, and then it's $100 to activate us.
Activate you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you, a cyborg?
It's crazy to charge people for things they already bought.
I'm gonna get my wallet.
That's why at US Cellular, we speak fair and never charge activation fees. Switch to US Cellular and get $500 off the latest smartphones with no hidden requirements. US Cellular. Upgrade to fair.
We believe every baby deserves a healthy start. Yet many new parents in our community are struggling to afford the basic necessities. You can help change that.
October 8th through 11th, please donate to the News 3 Now Community Baby Shower. Drop off infant care items safely at these no-contact drive-through sites throughout Madison. Visit Channel 3000 for complete details. News 3 Now Community Baby Shower, sponsored by Viridian Homes and Dave Jones Inc.
When Joe Biden wants an update on the virus, he calls on the nation's top health experts. Working together for all Americans is what Joe does. When writing his healthcare plan, Joe Biden worked with both doctors and patients to make healthcare affordable by lowering premiums, reducing drug costs, and protecting people with pre-existing conditions. Joe listened to both small business owners and workers to create his economic plan that cuts taxes for middle-class families, creates 18 million new jobs in his first term, and raises wages by as much as $15,000 a year. Joe Biden's plans will help working families immediately by making the super rich finally pay their fair share. For Joe, it's never been about ego. It's always been about the work he can do for working families. It's what he's always done. Joe Biden brings everyone to the table and gets it done.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Take a look at this. Watch as an unsuspecting Australian surfer has a very, very close encounter with a shark without even knowing it. As pro surfer Matt Wilkinson was catching waves, he was being watched from above by a drone operated by Surf Life Saving NSW. The organization uses drones to watch for shark activity at popular surf spots. Good thing, too, because they were able to warn Wilkinson via a loudspeaker of the 5-foot shark swimming right beneath him. Wilkinson escaped unharmed, and it wasn't until he watched the footage later that he realized just how close he came to the fearsome fish.
Oh, that's
very upsetting.
I guess you
don't know they're there.
What do? You just stay on the board, but are you supposed to swim away or just kind of float there? Or?
I don't know.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. I'm glad he's
That's
safe.
why
What
I
did
don't
you
surf.
What?
Simple as that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not surfing. That right
I
there.
would be out there on a surfboard, that's for sure, yes.
Oh my gosh. I grew up in a coastal location down in Houston, and I mean, you hear about it. You hear about those kind of things. We're not dealing with sharks here. Instead, it's all about the sunshine that we're expecting as we go through the rest of this week. But we do have rain chances, and we do have cold fronts in that forecast. Don't go anywhere. It's coming right up.
I've been a police officer for nearly 32 years. Joe Biden does not have the backs of police officers.
Joe Biden's silence is encouraging the rioters. If Joe Biden's elected, it's just going to continue.
Joe Biden empowers these people. The more you empower them, the more crime they go to commit.
In Joe Biden's America, we'll all be in danger. If you support the police and you want to be safe in your home and you want your children safe, support Donald Trump.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
We believe every baby deserves a healthy start. Yet many new parents in our community are struggling to afford the basic necessities. You can help change that.
October 8th through 11th, please donate to the News 3 Now Community Baby Shower. Drop off infant care items safely at these no-contact drive-through sites throughout Madison. Visit Channel 3000 for complete details. News 3 Now Community Baby Shower, sponsored by Viridian Homes and Dave Jones Inc.
Nature's Bounty unleashes something exciting. Say hello to a drug-free way to ease stress. Stress Comfort, a gummy supplement with lemon balm plus saffron to naturally boost your mood. Stress Comfort from Nature's Bounty.
I got your back, you got mine. Think about you all the time. Together we can come through. That's what love's made of. When it's made with love, it's made to be shared.
Joint pain, swelling, tenderness.
My psoriasis. Cosentyx works on all of this.
Cosentyx treats the multiple symptoms of psoriatic arthritis to help you look and feel better. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about an infection or symptoms. If your inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to, serious allergic reactions may occur.
Watch me.
Learn more at Cosentyx.com.
We made USAA insurance for members like Martin, an Air Force veteran made of doing what's right, not what's easy. So when a hailstorm hit, USAA reached out before he could even inspect the damage.
That's how you do it right.
USAA insurance is made just the way Martin's family needs it. With hassle-free claims, he got paid before his neighbor even got started. Because doing right by our members, that's what's right. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
USAA. News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
We talked about Hurricane Delta earlier in the show, and in that time frame, Delta has been upgraded from a Category 2 to a Category 3 storm, still likely to make landfall somewhere along the southwest Louisiana coast by the time we get you towards Friday night and into Saturday, before eventually working its way towards the Tennessee Valley as a tropical depression. But here's what we're dealing with. You have tropical storm warnings throughout southeast Texas from Matagorda Bay and Galveston Islands. Then you work your way throughout southern Louisiana, and you see this area where the hurricane warnings are. This is also where we're expecting the heaviest rain as Delta begins to come ashore headed into the weekend. Here's where that storm is right now, and already we're seeing some of those outer rain bands bring shower chances to parts of Louisiana, Texas, and even Mississippi. For us, we are dry, but some of the cloud cover associated with Delta is all the way into St. Louis. We have high pressure in control right now, so we are honestly hard-pressed to find cloud cover as you begin to look outside. Our winds are coming out of the north and east. This warm front, though, that's going to move our direction as we head overnight, setting the stage for just some incredibly warm temperatures for this time of the year as we move into tomorrow. Here's high-resolution Doppler across Wisconsin. We are all dry, all thanks to the high pressure that we have overhead. Look for sunshine sticking around. Temperatures, they get close to 80 as we begin to move into tomorrow. Then we'll see some rain chances at the end of the forecast. That's really going to help usher in some of those cooler temperatures. Here's what happens as we move into the overnight hours tonight. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. We're at 50. Some folks are into the upper 40s. Watch how we begin to warm up, though, throughout the overnight hours. You're waking up tomorrow. Temperatures are a couple degrees warmer at this point. A strong southerly to southwesterly wind. We're talking temperatures around 79 to 80, 81, 82 when it comes to your high moving into tomorrow. Then the cold front comes back in. We're at 58 for tomorrow night. Here's that surge of warmth. Watch the colder temperatures as we get into Monday and Tuesday earlier on next week. You think that's cool. There's a bigger shot of some cooler air that comes our direction Thursday and into Friday next week. But it's that Monday, Tuesday cold front that brings our best chance to see some rain throughout really that entire extended forecast. It's Monday, a slight shower chance. Tuesday, maybe a small shower chance Wednesday night. Otherwise, every other day of this forecast is dry. Your variation is going to be from 79 on Friday all the way down to 53 by the time we get you towards next weekend.
And then reality set in.
Then reality sets in just a little bit, but I'll tell you what, our average high for this time of the year, it's actually 63. So,
not bad.
You know, it's Tuesday and Wednesday next week that's closer to where we should be this time of the year.
Look at the weekend. It's going to be
beautiful.
great.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
The government's Consumer Product Safety Commission is investigating the tragedy of infants who die in their sleep.
Their research led to a warning about a product found in many households. Laura Podesta has the story.
Kristen Kelly is a podcaster and mother of 2 young children in Cincinnati. She follows pediatricians' advice about how babies should sleep.
So it sounds like you were always very careful leaving the pillows, leaving the blankets out of the crib.
Ford didn't have a blanket or a pillow. Sounds uncomfortable, but gotta be safe.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission is investigating dangers associated with nursing pillows and says its initial assessment shows deaths when children are left on or near pillows and the child rolls over, rolls off, or falls asleep. The agency is warning parents not to allow infants to sleep on nursing pillows or other pillow-like products. Consumer Reports' Rachel Rabkin-Peachman analyzed the government's database and found 28 deaths associated with nursing pillows. She's calling on manufacturers for better product messaging.
They should be clearly labeled in every instance so that parents have a very firm understanding that these products are not to be used for infant sleep.
The government says nearly 1,000 infants suffocate in their sleep each year, raising concerns about cribs, inclined sleepers, and related consumer products. Officials issued the pillow warning even before their investigation was over. The CPSC did not name specific brands, but says it's looking into the entire class of products.
Basically, the CPSC noticed these fatalities and wanted to get the word out immediately.
Peachman says when used properly, a nursing pillow can be helpful for parents.
It just holds the baby up so mommy's more comfortable.
The government's warning is not a recall, but a message to parents that a mistake could be tragic. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Pediatricians say babies should be put to sleep on a firm, flat surface on their backs and without soft bedding.
Good advice. Yeah. All right. Dr. Zorba Pastor when we come back.
Our seniors that are being hit the hardest, they're frightened. And I want them to know that their health and safety will be my responsibility if I'm your president. And I'll have from day one, ready to go, the best medical experts and scientists to advise on our response. And I will not abandon you. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
I wanted my hepatitis C gone.
I put off treating mine.
Epclusa treats all main types of chronic hep C. Whatever your type, Epclusa could be your kind of cure.
I just found out about mine.
I knew for years. Epclusa has a 98% overall cure rate.
I had no symptoms of hepatitis C.
Mine caused liver damage.
Epclusa is only one pill, once a day, taken with or without food for 12 weeks. Before starting Epclusa, your doctor will test if you have had hepatitis B, which may flare up and could cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you have had hepatitis B, other liver or kidney problems, HIV or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Epclusa may cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects include headache and tiredness. Ask your doctor today if Epclusa is your kind of cure.
I can't believe it.
What? That our new house is haunted by Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Hey, Jill. Hey, Kurt. Movies? I'll get snacks.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on our car insurance with Geico.
I got snacks. Ooh, I got popcorn. I got caramel corn. I got kettle corn. Right. Am I saying too loud?
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hi, I'm Tim O'Brien, owner of The Healthy Place, and every couple of months, we have a store-wide sale. Stop in this week for 25% off Monday through Saturday. Stop pain, reduce stress, get deeper sleep, and find your healthy place with natural supplements. Stock up on all your favorite supplements this week with 25% off through Saturday. My mission is to impact, empower, and educate you. Stop by one of our 4 Madison-based locations or check us out online at findyourhealthyplace.com.
Tonight at 5, the future of the presidential debate is in question. Plus, we'll take a look at the vice presidential debate that happened last night, what two sides focused on. That's ahead at 5.
Windy and milder weather returns for Friday with high temperatures near 80 degrees. The weekend will be mild and pleasant before rain chances arrive Monday. My first one forecast at 5.
And then at 6, the governor announces another round of pardons as we are learning about several inmates who have died in Wisconsin prisons after contracting COVID-19. The latest at 6.
There's a live look on the lake. I'm trying to see if I can see the crew boats out there this afternoon.
I don't see them.
Not sure, yeah, but it's a beautiful afternoon in Madison. Feels like summertime.
It sure does.
It's going to stay that way through the weekend. It's time for our weekly check-in with Dr. Zorba Pastor.
In the next segment, we'll be taking your COVID-related questions, and we'll let you know when it's time to call in. Dr. Zorba Pastor joining us from his clinic in Oregon. Hi, Zorba.
Hi, good to see you guys.
Let's talk about the medications that President Trump is on now.
Yes. So first of all, as soon as the president went into Walter Reed, he was given a cocktail of antibodies from a company called Regeneron. And these are antibodies not from people. In other words, they weren't developed from plasma or serum, but actually they were generated in the lab. That may have been one of the things that helped keep his fever down. He was also given dexamethasone. That's very important. Dexamethasone is generally only given when you're short of breath and very very seriously ill with COVID. But they may have jumped in before that. We don't, of course, have all the information from the doctors at all. But it was given dexamethasone. And by the way, one of the side effects of dexamethasone can be mania, and a feeling of sort of a higher feeling, like you just are impermeable to anything. And that's a very common side effect of lots of steroids. In addition to that, he was also given oxygen. And the reason that he was given oxygen was his oxygen content must have dropped down significantly. So he was pretty sick for those first 2 or 3 days. But I want to caution you. I want to tell you just a story that I think that goes along with this. Patient that I just talked to on a video call from my office. This is a guy who works really hard, electrician, puts in lots of work, manual labor. And about 10 days ago, somebody came down with COVID. A week ago last Thursday, came down with COVID in his group. So he had to self-isolate, went to the Alliant Energy Center. The test was negative. Remember, we have false negative tests. And then 3 or 4 days later, he started to get sick. The test was then positive, and he was in bed for about 4 to 5 days. On his back, hardly eating, couldn't smell, can hardly walk upstairs even now. And this is roughly 10 days after he got COVID. This is the guy who's worked for 30 years and has never lost a day of work. So the reality is, this is a very serious disease that often hits you a week after it actually starts. It's not something that should be taken lightly. It is not like the flu. It is much more serious than the flu.
Well, and that story really illustrates that there is a period of time between when you get infected and when you are infectious.
Exactly.
And people can't seem to quite wrap their head around it. It's a little confusing.
No, they can't. And also, they don't realize necessarily that not all tests are the same. So some tests are more sensitive than others. And a negative COVID test doesn't mean that you don't have COVID. So he was told by his employer, one person in the group had COVID, you got to self-isolate for 2 weeks. Perfect example, because he was infected. And even with a negative test, you can't assure that that doesn't mean you don't have it. And that's why it's spreading so rapidly throughout this country and throughout Wisconsin, in northern Wisconsin, especially in Green Bay and areas up north.
Yeah, it is running rapid at this point. All right, 270-9933 is the number to call if you have a question for Dr. Zorba Passer. We'll get to your questions right after this.
Introducing the Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Safely tour a vast array of expertly crafted homes from top builders across the area. Meet the builders, discover new design trends. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for more information.
Joe Biden will make health care affordable. His plan gives a tax credit to help working families pay insurance premiums, lowers prescription costs by 60%, and protects coverage for pre-existing conditions, no matter what. He'll pay for it by getting rid of Donald Trump's tax cuts for the super rich, because Joe knows our economy's strength doesn't come from the top. It comes from working families, and that's who he's fighting for every day.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Knoll Manor Retirement Living in Verona provides extraordinary supportive living with compassion and grace. We offer independent living, assisted living, and closer care living options. We understand that staying social is important to everyone's well-being. That's why Knoll Manor provides engaging activities and ways to stay active and connect with others. There's yoga, bingo, outdoor music, and so much more, all while keeping your health and safety in mind. Knoll Manor Living. Welcome home. Contact us today to set up your virtual tour.
Joe Biden isn't an epidemiologist. He's not an economist or military general. But what he is the kind of leader who listens to the experts and a candidate who has earned their support. And what he'll be is a president who leads us out of this crisis and a commander-in-chief who respects those who have served. Because Joe Biden knows this moment is not about him, but about what we can do together. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Each year, Americans waste $21 billion by overpaying on car insurance.
That's why I went to thezebra.com. Because while every company claims to save you money on car insurance, the Zebra shows you who actually can. You can easily compare quotes from top providers all at once. With the Zebra, you can save up to $375 a year. No fees and no spammy phone calls. Because who needs that?
See what you can save. Compare car insurance for free at thezebra.com.
We aren't radical, so why would we want one representing us in Madison? Chris Marion is an extreme partisan liberal who's just fine with calling political opponents Nazis, dictators, and enemies. And Chris Marion wants to take more of your paycheck, too. Marion supports eliminating levy limits, causing property taxes to skyrocket, crushing families as they try to recover. And Marion backs the radical Green New Deal that will cost trillions, destroy jobs, and increase taxes. Chris Marion, just too radical.
Introducing the Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Safely tour a vast array of expertly crafted homes from top builders across the area. Meet the builders, discover new design trends. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for more information.
Dude, that's a big one.
That'd be funny. Oh, it is one. Oh,
yeah, give me your
my one.
That is the groom, and in 15 minutes, he's supposed to be at the altar. Tim Scripps says that he originally just intended to jokingly cast the line out. He wasn't expecting this to happen. The fisherman thinks it's beyond a miracle that he would catch a fish like this on his big day. And don't worry, he made it to the altar on time.
That's funny.
Well, it's time to get your medical questions answered live.
The number to call if you have a question for Dr. Zorba Pastor is 270-9933. Zorba is standing by in his clinic in Oregon. Let's get to the phones, and we'll start with Mohammed in Madison. Hi, Mohammed. What's your question?
Yes, thank you. My question is about KN95 mask. It says on there, this is not a medical device. If I just wear this to the store, do I have to dispose of it just because I wore it out to the store and back home? Or can it be clean?
Not at all. If you're a healthcare provider, especially if you're in the hospital, that's when we change the N95s pretty much every day. For the most part, you really don't have to. And what we've discovered is that most COVID is spread through droplets from other people that are spreading in the air to you. But the answer is no. You certainly can brush it off. You can spray it with a little antimicrobial spray if you want to. But for the most part, you do not have to change it. You don't have to toss it. It's for regular use. They're writing not for medical use because those masks are manufactured differently.
Okay, but they're good.
They're good.
All right.
Yep.
Let's go to John in Madison. Hi, John. What's your question?
Hi. I'd like to know if a person had COVID-19 and recovered, does that person still need to wear a mask? Thank you.
You bet.
That's a good question.
100%, because we don't know whether or not, when you get COVID, whether or not you can get COVID again. And in fact, we actually know that you can get COVID again. There was a first example about 2 weeks ago in Hong Kong where somebody came in, had a fever, had COVID the first time because they have very good tracing in Hong Kong. And lo and behold, they came down with COVID again. So the answer is yes. Even if you had COVID, you have to wear a mask. And as far as we know, you may still get sick again, just like you can get sick from influenza, not once, but twice.
Okay, let's go to Jim in Lake Mills. Hi, Jim. What's your question?
Yeah, hi, Dr. Zorba. Yeah, in 2009, I got influenza, and I was sick for 2 weeks. I mean, I couldn't go to work. That's the sickest I've ever been in my life. I mean, I've never been that sick before. A month and a half ago, I got COVID. I'm 62. I got asthma. I had it for like 3 or 4 days. It was like nothing. I went and got checked.
Yeah.
And I was over. I mean, I did have it. I stayed home. I didn't work anyway, but I stayed home because I was home anyhow. And I got the antibodies. And once you get the antibodies, how can you catch it again if you have antibodies?
Well, first of all, number one, you got very, very sick with influenza. And every time you get influenza, you don't necessarily get seriously ill. The same with COVID. Some people get COVID, it's very mild. That's exactly what it's all about. And other people get deathly ill and die from COVID. So the big issue is you can't tell from one time to the next. As far as antibodies, we don't know how long those antibodies last, and we don't know whether or not the antibodies actually protect you from getting COVID again. And why is that? Because COVID is new. We don't understand it. You know, with measles, once you got measles, you had lifetime immunity. With influenza, for instance, you don't have lifetime immunity. And with COVID, the jury is out.
And how many colds do we get in the year?
Oh, yes, right. Exactly. Right. You got it.
All right, let's go to Jeannie in Prairie du Sac. Hi, what's your question? Jeannie, you there? I don't think she's there. Let's go to Laura in Platteville. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Hi, what's your question?
Yeah, the other night I watched the vice presidential debate, and they were talking about afterwards how Vice President Pence had, like, red eye. Is an infection in the eye a symptom of COVID?
No, not necessarily. Many people have red eyes, do not have a symptom of COVID. If you want to know all the symptoms, Google it. One of the primary symptoms is loss of smell and loss of taste. And then the other symptoms, fever, headache, chills, can be just the same as a mild cold. Or, of course, if you get shortness of breath, that can be very serious. But red eye, as far as I know, is not a symptom of COVID. Now, keep in mind, the vice president could have COVID. We don't really know because we don't have those records. He said he doesn't have COVID. But remember, a negative COVID test doesn't mean you don't have COVID. It means you may not have COVID because the tests are wrong roughly about 40% of the time.
Oh, 40%?
Wow.
That's right. Very high number.
All right, let's go to Steve in Monroe. Hi, Steve. What's your question?
Hi, guys, and doctor. I was born with only one functioning kidney, and they are giving me a prognosis of level 3 chronic kidney disease. Do I have to worry about being out in public with this COVID real bad?
You bet. Absolutely. Anybody with diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, chronic kidney disease, any of those things put you at risk for having a serious problem, any medical problem, especially an infectious problem. So the first thing you want to do is get your influenza shot. And the second thing you want to do is limit the amount you're outside and make sure you wear a mask. But yes, the answer is if you've got kidney disease, you're at risk. Once again, it's a shot in the dark, but you want to make sure you don't get seriously ill because you already have a pre-existing condition.
Do we have time for one more call? Or all right, let's go to George in Beloit. Hi, George.
Hello, this is George.
Go ahead. What's your question?
I'm thinking about particle size. Is the particle of a COVID virus larger or smaller than, say, a particle of smoke? If somebody's smoking in a crowd and I can smell them.
Sure. For the most part, COVID is spread by larger droplets. Okay, so they're larger droplets. They're larger than typical smoke. However, and I say however, we now realize that these very, very small particles, because the virus is infinitesimally small, may also remain in the air for some time. And that's why we're really not sure exactly how long you should keep on a mask if somebody has passed through the room. And that's why we want to keep the mask on whenever we're in public spaces while we're in that space, because right now we don't understand everything. But it's the larger droplets that certainly spread most of the COVID.
Questions keep coming.
Yeah, good questions. Thank you for your calls today, everybody.
Zorba, thank you for your time. We'll see you next week.
My pleasure.
Good to see you, Zorba. Thanks.
We'll have a final check of your forecast coming up.
Through Monday at Furniture and Appliance Mart. Pay just $1 down for top brand appliances. That's right, you pay just $1. Seriously. And finance your entire purchase interest-free through 2021. Only at Furniture and Appliance Mart inside Ashley Home Store off the Beltline.
When Joe Biden wants an update on the virus, he calls on the nation's top health experts. Working together for all Americans is what Joe does. When writing his healthcare plan, Joe Biden worked with both doctors and patients to make healthcare affordable by lowering premiums, reducing drug costs, and protecting people with pre-existing conditions. Joe listened to both small business owners and workers to create his economic plan that cuts taxes for middle-class families, creates 18 million new jobs in his first term, and raises wages by as much as $15,000 a year. Joe Biden's plans will help working families immediately by making the super rich finally pay their fair share. For Joe, it's never been about ego. It's always been about the work he can do for working families. It's what he's always done. Joe Biden brings everyone to the table and gets it done.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Thinking about your financial plan? So are we. Prudential helps 25 million people with their financial needs. With over 90 years of investment experience, our thousands of financial professionals can help. Go to Prudential.com or talk to an advisor.
Through Monday at Ashley Home Store, pay just $1 down for the best sleep of your life. You pay just $1 at checkout for any mattress in our lineup. Seriously. Plus, savings up to 55% off and no interest financing for up to 6 years. Only at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
As the election draws closer, you may be getting more campaign-related items in your mailbox and on your phone. What information of yours is out there for sale? And is there a way to stop unwanted mailings? Tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
Are we not just spoiled with the forecast like this for this time of the year? Tomorrow's high is going to be very similar to what we would typically see in August. So we'll be 1 degree away from 80. Some folks will likely make it towards 80. 70s through the weekend. We'll see a rain chance on Monday. Then we gradually begin to cool down. Our average high around this time of the year, 63. We'll be below that by next weekend.
All right. Chris, thank you. Tomorrow here on Live at 4, Michael Bruno goes behind the screens for National Coming Out Day Story Slam.
And, you got it.
Okay.
You got it. And a Madison author has published his first children's book, Burgerhead and Mean Jerry Become Friends.
About time.
That's tomorrow on the 4.